Hello and welcome back to Darts Now. Well, the PDC World Championship is nearly upon us, and I am joined by Darts Now's very own Connor Kane to talk through three potential dark horses who could make a big impact at this year's World Championship. Now, I've had to fight Connor about these three selections because he wanted to include somebody who, well, I'm sure he'll come up later in the video, and I just wasn't having it as an appropriate selection for this video. But Connor, we'll start firstly with the names that we kind of agreed on, and there is one that sprung out that we just had to include. Now, bear in mind he's 33-1, best price in the outright market. It's actually getting to the point where we can't call him a dark horse, but I think you can because he's never actually won a game at Ali Pali. He's barely won anything in terms of TV majors. He lost all three of his games at the Grand Slam of Darts, yet his price collapsed. It is, of course, Wessel Nijman, if you haven't worked that out already, the young Dutch star. Now, he had an interesting path into the game, hasn't he, Wessel? Because he served a 2-year ban for match fixing, which he was caught up in as a teenager. He's been very open and transparent about that, worked with the PDC to try and put people off, that kind of thing. But now, thankfully for him, all the stories are back on his darts because he's been fantastic this year, hasn't he? And that performance at the Grand Slam at a reference. Yes, he lost all three group games, averages of 105, 108 and 111, actually set the record, which was subsequently broken.
It's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, look, he's 33-1. That is like crazy short for someone that's done as little as he has, but he's got the talent, hasn't he?
He has got the talent, yeah, and I think we'll be talking a lot more about him if it wasn't for a certain Luke Littler. And by the way, when those two played on the development tour, Wessel Nijman's record over Luke Littler is fantastic.
Excellent.
It really, really is. You know, and I think they played each other like 5 or 6 times. They played each other an awful lot.
He beat him on the Euro Tour as well last year.
He did, yeah. He's, you know, he can beat anyone. He's got the game to beat absolutely anyone because you talked about his Grand Slam averages there. He can consistently produce those sorts of numbers, game in, game out. He doesn't seem to be phased. He doesn't seem to be set back by that break from the game that you said because of everything that happened with the match fixing. And then you also have a look at the draw as well. He's in that third quarter. We spoke about it over on Odds Now when we did our betting preview. Go check that out. But, you know, he's got Cameron Carolison of South Africa in his opening game. And then you see that he's going to face is Joe Cullen, who he's out of all of the seeds, he's probably arguably in the worst form out of anyone.
I'd go with that.
But even pre-draw, you know, we would have selected him. It's like, you know, can you say he's a dark horse because he's 33-1? But you know, like you said, he's not won a game up on that stage. He lost to Steve Beaton last year in the opening round.
I think you can call him a dark horse because of what he is still to achieve, isn't he? He's never won a game on that Ali Pali stage, as we say, and that's probably why I would have reservations about telling people to maybe go and back this guy at the current prices. But you know, anyone who's backed him during the season at bigger prices will be feeling pretty smug with the way that draw's come out because I think you said it. In our preview, he couldn't really have handpicked a better draw in terms of you've got to play seeds at some point. You've got to play established players, but he doesn't really come into anybody really fearsome. I mean, he's not going to play a Littler or a Humphries till at least the final. He's not going to play an Anderson or a Van Gerwen till at the earliest the semi-final. And there's nothing to say those guys won't get knocked out or knock each other out as well. So the players that he has to play to get to the semi-finals, there's nobody that he will have a great fear of. Now, interestingly, in the quarter betting, he's actually third favourite to win this quarter. So that's probably quite reflective of an unusual market trend where I think people are basically saying this guy has a lot of untapped potential. If it goes as well as it can, he could be an absolute superstar. But equally, there's some tried and trusted people in his quarter as well, like Michael Smith, like Chris Dobey, like Johnny Clayton, players that have been around, been in that Premier League mix and established stars, but all kind of out of form.
Yeah, well, I think that's it. I think that's why the quarter betting is so close because you've got Chris Dobey, who, like you've said before, he's very reliable at the World Championship, but you know, he's not coming into this with any sort of TV form. And I think the fact they actually tweeted about his TV form shows something. It's on his mind. It is getting to him. So, you know, you sink or swim. Is that going to add more pressure? I don't know. Michael Smith has been in a lot of talk about the amount of money he's been defending. European Championship final, Grand Slam of Darts win, and of course he won the World Championship 2 years ago. So he's defending that on his ranking. He's been asked about that so much. He said it's not affecting him. Well, early exit in Dortmund, early exit in the Grand Slam of Darts, it is affected him. And now, if he makes the final, he's still losing £300,000. That ranking is going to plummet unless he wins the World Championship. Is he going to think about that? You can't not think about it. You can't not think about that. And then, listen, worst case scenario, after Joe Cullen, Wessel Nyman will meet Gerwyn Price. Gerwyn Price, you do not know what you're going to get. Like you said, there's so many question marks around the top names in this quarter that Wessel Nyman, young kid playing without any fear, playing so well with super averages, he could be the one to take advantage of the big names not being at their best.
Yeah, I think Cullen's the key game for him there because, everyone talks about the opportunity, but Cullen's still got plenty of experience and he won't mind being written off and kind of, all the attention being on Wessel. If he can overcome that hurdle, then I think the world's his oyster and I think he can go really, really deep. So it's going to be an interesting one to watch. Now, the next one that we're going to put up as a bit of a dark horse, and this is a dark horse price as well, 250 to 1. And is there a little bit of bias here? Maybe, because Darts Now have recently become his latest sponsor, delighted to help bring that partnership together. Connor Scott, who, we're going to be sporting the Darts Now patch on his shirt for the next 12 months and Ali Pally. And Connor, he's in a really tough part of the draw, as he admitted to me when I caught up with him last week. But he's shown, especially in the last few months, he is capable of mixing it with the very best on the big stage.
Yeah, I mean, if you ask people who is the best player at the moment without a tour card, he will come up. He will be the name on everybody's lips. Although I think he said to you actually that he doesn't feel like he's not had a tour card because of everything that he's done on the Challenge Tour. I think he's played 23 out of 30 Pro Tour events.
Correct, yeah.
This year, so he's got so much experience. The people he practices with, Richie Edhouse, Martin Lukeman, they've all got tour cards. So. It's not.
And they've all had good years as well.
Exactly.
So that should rub off a little bit.
Yeah, and so he's not like he's coming into a situation where he's going to get overawed. He faces Ben Robb, who has experience on that World Championship stage, but albeit not great experience.
Beatable, isn't it? It's a winnable first round draw.
Absolutely, yeah. And then after that, if he beats Ben Robb, he'll have Damon Heta, who's not been great on the TV stage.
Practice partners, friends as well. That's an interesting dynamic, isn't it?
Well, he's got too many friends, Connor Scott. He needs to start peeing a lot more people off because he's got too many friends and it makes it tough for him. But he reached the final on the Pro Tour earlier this year, lost to Gary Anderson. Absolutely no shame in that. This is a guy who can consistently, game after game, put in high 90s average. You do not need to average over a ton to win the World Championship. If you consistently put in 98, 99 average, you can win this tournament. And listen, I don't think we're saying that he's going to win it. It's 250 to 1. But he could go deep.
Deserves a mention,
And every year, we saw it with Scott Williams last year. We've seen it with Jamie Lewis in the past. The draw just opens up for someone. It could be Connor Scott.
Yeah, and I think because of where he's landing in the draw, by his own admission, a tough old draw and a tough little section. But I think if he takes it on a game-by-game basis, he shouldn't be overawed by anyone he's playing because the pressure's probably going to be on his opponent most of the time.
Absolutely.
And I think that is why there's been a little bit of interest, a buzz around Connor, because he's the kind of player that if he's the underdog, you don't really want to be playing him, do you, as an established pro? He's a dangerous player.
Yeah.
And yeah, like that dynamic with Damon as well, it's going to be tough. It's just going to be who handles that better, I suppose. But
Damon Heta will not want to play Connor Scott.
No, well, they both said that they would like the draw to be redone. Unfortunately, we don't have the sway to do that, but that's got to be a great match if he gets past Ben Robb, one I would really enjoy watching.
Yes.
But yeah, regardless of what Connor does at Ali Pally, that's why we've got behind him with the sponsorship. We think it's a big 12 months ahead. He's definitely a man to keep on your radar, I think it's fair to say. Now, selection 3, I had to talk Connor down from the ledge because he was...
He's not. I'm on the ledge. I'm firmly on it.
He was standing there telling me he wanted to include, I'm going to say it, Raymond van Barneveld as a dark horse. And the look on my face, if the camera was rolling and the expletives that came out, I've had to just sort of calm myself down. Just let Connor do his little thing. But first, I'm going to talk about someone who I actually consider a dark horse, someone that's not a former world champion, and someone that's not playing the reigning world champion in his second match. I think he deserves a mention. He's not had much mention as I thought he would because he's had a tough draw. But Cameron Menzies, what a fantastic year he's had, Connor. This is somebody who's been just floating around the middle of darts as a capable player on his day, but a bit of a journeyman player. Obviously had a background in the BDO and WDF, been in the Pro Tour a little bit without pulling up trees. This year, something's just clicked for Cammy. All the statistics that you can pull up of 2024, he's in the top 10. Yeah. He's right up there. What I question with Cammy is the between the ears and the belief and the concentration at times. We saw it in the Grand Slam when he thought he'd gone out on leg difference, and he actually, as you told us,
He
left the
yeah.
venue only to find out that he'd actually got through, and he had to sort of turn around. So he's a unpredictable character, I think it's fair to say. He's not everyone's cup of tea with the hugging and the kissing and the chatting midway through the game, but he's a brilliant darts player.
He is, and you say that there with the hugging and the kissing. He doesn't like that. We were speaking in Minehead. He said he can't watch that back. People tag him in clips, and he just
doesn't like it.
No,
yeah.
he doesn't like it. But he's so emotional. He wears his heart on his sleeve.
He lives in the moment, doesn't he? You can see he's living every dart he throws.
And it's good to watch. It's entertaining. You'd rather see that than robots. But
100%.
I think he's been playing darts now for an awful long time, and he knows that he's got the talent. We know he's got the talent. We've seen it, but it's in between the ears, like you said. And he was talking in Minehead, and he mentioned in Wolverhampton as well that he's thinking of getting a sports psychologist on board. He knows he needs to sort that side of his game out if he can. And I think with Cammy, any sports psychologist is going to have, well, they'll be earning their money.
Working double time.
There will be double time, but I think the fact that he acknowledges that's what he needs to do, shows that something could start to happen for Cammy.
Well, something's changed this year, hasn't it? Because he's added consistency to his game that wasn't there previously. But maybe, like you said, to take that next step on TV, he needs to look into more of the mental side, the composure, maybe get some techniques. I know Stephen Bunting's talked a lot about, resetting, having things at pictures and, just going away and just resetting the mind and stuff. If Cammy can, and it's a big if, crack some of them techniques and just add another layer of composure to his game, because he's won a Pro Tour this year. He's had some good wins on TV as well. Probably missed a couple of opportunities, I would say. He had a very winnable quarterfinal. I think it was at the Grand Prix.
Ricky Mansell.
At
the Slam.
At the Slam, sorry, and maybe a one that got away from him there. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
But there's progression there. Is he going to go and win the World Championship this year? Maybe not. But can he go and do some damage? 100% he can.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, he does have the ability, but I feel like he needs a bit more belief in himself.
100%. I agree with that.
He's spoken before that he doesn't feel like he belongs, and that the Pro Tour that he won made him feel like he belonged. But Cammy, what I don't know why you feel like that. Yeah. He's such a good player. He's got so much ability.
There's been 128 players in them Pro Tours, every all 30 of them, and most of the time he's been in the last 8, last 16.
It's not fluke. It's not coming.
It's not just belonging. It's literally you're one of the best players there, and I agree with you. It's that self-belief is just still missing a little bit for me, and a willingness to beat himself up when it goes wrong rather than embrace what's going right. And I think he's trying to actively change that. Like you say, another man definitely to keep on your radar for 2025. I'm hoping for big things from Cammy and really excited to see what he could do at Ali Pali. Before we wrap this video up, Connor, I'm going to let you speak.
Here we go.
About Raymond van Barneveld.
I've got this. Raymond van Barneveld. Now, I put him as a dark horse because he's not won a ranking major in 18 years. 2007 UK Open, just a few months after he won the World Championship. Raymond van Barneveld is an interesting person because he is simultaneously, and you can't say this about anyone else, the most overrated and underrated player that I've ever seen in my life. And the reason why I say that is because I don't want to slag him off here. How do I word this? He's a 5-time champion of the world. He won 1 in the PDC. Is he top 5 of all time? Personally, he's not in my top 5 of all time. However, I say he's underrated in the same breath because people are saying, oh, he's not good anymore. He's nowhere near what he used to be. People are comparing him now to what he was 15, 20 years ago. It's unfair. He's 57 years old. How many 57-year-olds are in the top 32 of the PDC or have ever been? How many 32-year-olds are winning titles? Now, I know you've talked about why Raymond shouldn't be included in this list. He potentially could face Luke Humphries in his second game, the reigning world champion. Luke Humphries probably wins that. However, Luke Humphries might not even make it there. He will make it there, though. But Raymond has a good record over Luke Humphries. It's not the longest of formats compared to the World Championship. If Barney can get through that game, a big if granted, he could make the semi-finals. And then you would expect him to face Luke Littler, but Luke's in a separate quarter.
You can clip this up if he wins, and I will be delighted for you if he does make the semi-finals. I'm struggling to get there with it, but I'll give you credit. he's a big price. He's a massive price.
It's 200 to 1.
Yeah, so he does probably qualify as a dark horse. I'm very, very reluctantly saying that, but I mean, you know, in a video where we're hoping to unearth some of the names you may not have heard of, Conor goes with one of the most famous people in darting history. Even my mum has heard of Raymond van Barneveld. But anyway, he's made it in. You've done your job. You've got him in the video. Let us know who your dark horses are for this year's PDC World Championship. And let us know who generally you're expecting a big run from. If you head over to our sister channel Odds Now, we've done the most comprehensive Darts World Championship preview on the market.
Which Barney wasn't mentioned in, actually, I don't think.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. 75-minute long preview, so make sure you put the kettle on for that one. But we have gone in depth, and there's lots of betting tips and general predictions about the World Championships there. We'll link that video here on your screen now. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to Darts Now for all the latest news and interviews from the PDC World Championship.